Have you ever wondered if your dog could ever truly forgive you? What if I told you that there are moments in your life with your dog that could scar them for life? These aren't the stories of just a bad day or a momentary lapse in judgment. These are unforgivable actions that could change the course of your bond forever. In the next few minutes, we'll uncover 15 shocking things that dogs cannot forget. And trust me, you might be guilty of some of them. Stay with me because what comes next will not only open your eyes but could change the way you treat your best friend forever. Dogs have been our companions for centuries, offering us unconditional love, loyalty, and support. But as much as we give to them, there are actions we may unknowingly take that can leave a lasting mark on their hearts and minds. The relationship we have with our pets is built on trust, but what happens when that trust is broken? The truth is dogs don't forgive the way we do. Unlike humans, who can often forget or move past certain things, dogs hold on to their experiences. Their memories are strong, and the way they perceive their world is deeply tied to how they feel about us. They don't rationalize the way we do. Instead, they rely on their instincts and emotions. And when we make mistakes, sometimes without even realizing it, those mistakes can leave scars. These aren't just minor missteps. We're talking about things that can shake their confidence in us, cause fear or anxiety, and in some cases, change their behavior forever. You may have thought that a dog's forgiveness is limitless, that they would always come back to you, tail wagging and ready to love. But the truth is, dogs are not passive recipients of our affection. They react. They feel. They experience pain just as deeply as we do, even if they don't express it the same way. When we hurt them, either physically or emotionally, the damage can run deep, and their ability to trust us again is not always a given. This video will take you through 15 things that many dog owners, unfortunately, overlook. Actions or behaviors that might seem insignificant to us could be traumatic to our dogs. And by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why these things can never be forgiven, but you'll also learn how to repair the damage, if it's not too late. So, whether you're a seasoned dog owner or you're just starting your journey, I urge you to watch carefully. Understanding these missteps is the first step toward becoming the best owner your dog could ever ask for. Let's dive into the things that your dog might never forgive, and how we can avoid them. 1. Abandoning them. When we talk about abandoning a dog, we're not just talking about leaving them in a new environment for a couple of hours. We're talking about that deep emotional trauma that hits a dog when they're left alone for an extended period, or worse, relinquished to a shelter or new owner. Dogs are creatures of habit and attachment. When you leave them behind, it's more than just a temporary feeling of loneliness. It's a broken trust that takes a long time to heal, if at all. Why is this unforgivable? The answer lies in how deeply dogs form attachments. They see their human as their protector, their provider, their everything. When that bond is severed suddenly or unexpectedly, the emotional shock they experience can have long-term effects on their behavior. Abandonment causes anxiety, fear, and insecurity. It's a betrayal that's hard to overcome, and for some dogs, it's a scar they can't forget. There's a heartbreaking story of a dog named Max. Max had been adopted from a local shelter, and his new family was excited to welcome him into their home. But after a few months, they moved and decided they couldn't take Max with them. They dropped him off at a new shelter without explanation. Max was heartbroken. His new home had been his safe place, and now, just like that, he was alone again. His trust in people was shattered, and he became a shell of his former self. It took a long time before he could bond with anyone again. If you've ever made the mistake of leaving a dog behind, the best way to begin healing that wound is through patience and consistency. Show your dog that they can trust you again by providing them with love, stability, and a routine. If you ever need to part with them, do so gently. Be transparent and ensure they feel safe in the new environment. The road to forgiveness is long, but with time, your dog can learn to trust you once more. 2. Not socializing them properly. When a dog isn't properly socialized, the impact can be far-reaching. Socialization is crucial for a dog's mental health and behavior. Without it, they can develop fears, anxieties, and even aggression toward other dogs or people. Dogs need to learn how to interact with the world around them from a young age. If they don't, the world can feel like a very threatening and unpredictable place. So why is this unforgivable? Dogs who aren't socialized properly often carry that emotional baggage throughout their lives. They become fearful, not just of strangers but of other animals and situations that should be safe. They may even act out aggressively, lashing out because they don't know how to cope with their anxiety. When they've missed the opportunity to form healthy relationships with other dogs or people, that loss is often irreversible. Take the story of Luna, a beautiful golden retriever who was kept in a small apartment without ever meeting other dogs. Her owners assumed she'd be fine with just them, but Luna grew increasingly scared of unfamiliar people and pets. She would bark furiously at anyone who came near, and her owners couldn't understand why she'd become so aggressive. Luna had missed the essential socializing steps early in life, and by the time they realized the problem, her behavior was deeply ingrained. The key to socializing a dog is patience and gradual exposure. If your dog has missed out on proper socialization, start slowly by introducing them to new environments, sounds, and people in a controlled manner. Use positive reinforcement to reward calm behavior, and don't rush the process. Over time, they'll learn that the world doesn't have to be a scary place. With consistent exposure and your steady guidance, they can regain their confidence and learn to navigate the world with less fear. 3. Yelling or punishing with fear. When you raise your voice at your dog or resort to physical punishment, you're not teaching them anything positive. Instead, you're teaching them to fear you. This kind of behavior can have a lasting emotional impact on your dog and completely erode the bond you've worked so hard to build. The damage is not just to their trust in you. It can also cause deep anxiety, fear-based aggression, and confusion. So, why is this unforgivable? Dogs don't understand punishment the way we think they do. They don't associate a scolding with their bad behavior. Instead, they only associate the yelling or the negative treatment with the person who is supposed to protect them. This can create a rift in the relationship, leading to emotional scars that may never fully heal. Dogs can start to fear not just bad behavior, but also the person they love most, the one who's supposed to make them feel safe. There's a story of a dog named Charlie, a sweet, energetic border collie, who was often punished for barking too much or chewing on things. His owners didn't understand that Charlie's natural behavior needed to be guided, not punished. They yelled at him and, at times, even hit him to correct his behavior. Over time, Charlie's once playful demeanor turned to fear, and he began hiding whenever they raised their voices. His owners didn't realize that their attempts at discipline were actually driving him away emotionally. The key here is positive reinforcement. Instead of yelling, focus on redirecting your dog's behavior with gentle commands and rewards for good actions. When they do something right, praise them and offer a treat. Positive training not only helps them understand what you want, but also strengthens the trust between you and your dog. Remember, consistency and patience are your best tools to heal the emotional wounds that yelling or punishment have caused. 4. Hitting or abusing them. When it comes to hitting or abusing a dog, the impact is undeniable. The physical and emotional toll it takes on them is severe, and the trust between you and your dog can be shattered permanently. Unlike human children, dogs cannot comprehend why they're being hurt, which makes this kind of punishment even more devastating. Instead of learning from it, they only experience fear and confusion, which can lead to trauma that affects their behavior forever. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs see us as their protectors. When a dog is physically harmed by the person they trust most, it creates a deep betrayal. They don't understand the punishment. It's just pain. Over time, they become fearful of the person who is supposed to make them feel safe, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and aggressive behavior. In the worst cases, dogs that are abused can develop a fear of all humans, not just their abuser, and that fear can be almost impossible to undo. A heartbreaking example is the story of Bella, a Labrador retriever who was severely abused by her previous owner. Bella was often kicked and hit for simple mistakes like barking too loudly or chewing on furniture. By the time she was rescued, she was terrified of people. She cowered at every movement, avoided eye contact, and wouldn't let anyone get too close. Her trust was broken, and it took a long time for her to feel comfortable around her new family, even though they treated her with nothing but kindness. If you've made this mistake, the road to recovery is long but not impossible. The first step is creating a safe environment for your dog, where they know they will never face harm again. Use positive reinforcement techniques, be patient, and let them come to you on their own terms. Healing takes time, but with consistent love and trust building, your dog can start to feel safe and valued again. 5. Leaving them alone for long periods. When a dog is left alone for extended periods, the emotional damage can be profound. Dogs are social animals. They thrive on companionship and interaction. If they're left isolated for too long, it doesn't just affect their behavior, it affects their mental and emotional well-being. They begin to feel abandoned, forgotten, and unwanted, which can cause anxiety, depression, and even destructive behaviors as they try to cope with their loneliness. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs are not independent creatures in the way humans are. They need their human companions to feel secure and loved. When you leave a dog alone for too long, you're essentially telling them that they don't matter. Over time, this can lead to separation anxiety, excessive barking, or even aggression when they do see their owner. The pain they feel is not just physical, it's emotional. They can start to associate their owner with hurt, fear, and loneliness, which is difficult to undo. A story that highlights this impact comes from a dog named Daisy. Daisy was a sweet beagle who lived with her owners in a small apartment. Due to their busy work schedules, Daisy was often left alone for 8 or 9 hours a day. When they came home, Daisy would be frantic, having chewed through furniture and torn up pillows. Her owners assumed it was just bad behavior, but in reality, Daisy was acting out due to the separation anxiety she was experiencing. The constant loneliness was taking a toll on her. If your dog has been left alone for long stretches of time, start by establishing a routine. Ensure they have plenty of mental stimulation like toys or puzzles, and try to reduce the time they're left alone, even if it means hiring a dog walker or asking a friend for help. If separation anxiety has become an issue, consider professional training or a behaviorist to help them adjust. With time and patience, you can help your dog feel secure again and rebuild that trust. 6. Ignoring their needs. When you neglect your dog's basic needs, it's not just about missing a walk or forgetting to feed them once. It's about denying them the care they require to thrive physically and emotionally. Dogs depend on us to provide for them, not just in terms of food and shelter, but in love, attention, and proper medical care. Failing to meet these needs can lead to physical health problems, anxiety, and emotional scars that may take years to heal. Why is this unforgivable? Ignoring a dog's needs can cause them to feel unloved and unimportant. It breaks their trust and can make them act out. For example, suppose a dog is consistently hungry or in pain because their owner doesn't take them to the vet. In that case, they can develop behavioral issues like aggression, depression, or chronic stress. They don't understand that their suffering is due to neglect. They associate it with their relationship with you, which can cause a deep rift in the bond you share. Take the story of Daisy, a beagle mix whose owners didn't take her to the vet when she showed signs of illness. Daisy had an untreated ear infection that caused her immense pain. Over time, she became irritable and began snapping at anyone who came near her ears. Her owners thought she was acting out, not realizing the pain she was in. The lack of attention to her medical needs turned her into a fearful and aggressive dog, unable to trust her owners. The first step in fixing this is to make sure your dog's basic needs are always met. Regular vet checkups, proper nutrition, and daily exercise should be non-negotiable. But it's not just about the physical. Spend quality time with your dog, give them the love and attention they crave, and be responsive to any signs of discomfort or distress. If your dog is acting out, ask yourself if you've been meeting their emotional needs, not just their physical ones. If not, it's time to show them you truly care. 7. Not taking them on walks. A dog's life isn't complete without the freedom to explore the world around them. When you fail to take your dog on walks, you're not just skipping a chore, you're depriving them of one of the most important aspects of their well-being. Walks are not only essential for their physical health, but they also provide mental stimulation, help burn off energy, and create opportunities for socialization. Without regular walks, your dog becomes physically and emotionally stagnant, which can lead to behavioral problems and frustration. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs need exercise, not just for their health but for their happiness. When they don't get enough of it, they can become restless, anxious, and even destructive. If a dog isn't able to release pent-up energy, it can result in behaviors like excessive barking, chewing, or digging. Moreover, the lack of outdoor activity deprives them of the chance to experience the world, which is vital for their socialization. A dog that isn't walked regularly can become withdrawn or aggressive towards new environments, people, or animals. A heartbreaking example of this is the story of Max, a high-energy terrier who was kept in a small yard with no regular walks. His owners were too busy with work to take him out, so Max spent most of his days cooped up, pacing and barking non-stop. As a result, he became more and more anxious, chewing up furniture and developing behavioral issues that were hard to correct. His frustration grew to the point where he started showing aggression towards strangers, something he'd never done before. If your dog isn't getting regular walks, start today. Even if it's just a short walk around the block, they'll benefit from the fresh air and mental stimulation. Make it a part of your daily routine, and you'll notice a significant improvement in their behavior. Regular exercise helps to keep their mind and body healthy, and over time, you'll see them calm down, build better social skills, and strengthen your bond. If your schedule is tight, consider asking a friend or hiring a dog walker to help. 8. Moving without preparing them. When you move to a new home without preparing your dog for the change, the emotional toll on them can be significant. Dogs are creatures of habit, and when their world is suddenly turned upside down, they can experience confusion, stress, and even trauma. A new environment means new smells, sounds, and routines. It's a lot for a dog to process, especially when they're already feeling the loss of the familiar spaces and scents they've come to know as safe. Why is this unforgivable? Moving without helping your dog adjust can leave them feeling lost and vulnerable. They rely on you to make them feel secure, but when the familiar is taken away without warning, it can cause anxiety, fear, and behavioral problems. Dogs don't understand why their world is changing, and without preparation, they may begin to act out, whether it's refusing to eat, having accidents in the house, or becoming withdrawn. The shock of the transition can also lead to long-term emotional struggles, and in some cases, they may develop separation anxiety or destructive behavior. Take the story of Toby, a German shepherd who had lived in the same home for years. When his family decided to move, they didn't prepare him for the transition. Toby was left to deal with the chaos of the move, unfamiliar boxes, new people, and strange places, without understanding what was happening. The move caused him to become increasingly anxious, and he began barking uncontrollably, even damaging furniture. His owners had to seek professional help to address his anxiety, but the emotional damage of the sudden change had already taken its toll. If you're planning a move, it's important to introduce your dog to the new environment gradually. Start by allowing them to explore the new home before the big day. Maintain a familiar routine as much as possible, and offer plenty of comfort during the transition. The more you can reduce the uncertainty of the move, the easier it will be for your dog to adjust and feel at ease in their new home. 9. Introducing new pets too abruptly. Introducing a new pet into your home without careful planning can have lasting emotional consequences for your dog. When a new animal enters the space your dog considers theirs, it can create a sense of competition, insecurity, and even fear. Dogs are territorial, and sudden changes like this can lead to confusion and stress. The bond your dog has with you is based on trust, and when a new, unfamiliar presence shakes the trust, it can cause behavioral shifts that are hard to undo. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs don't process these changes the same way humans do. To them, the introduction of a new pet might feel like a threat to their home, their food, and their relationship with you. The stress and anxiety from an abrupt introduction can lead to jealousy, fear-based aggression, and, in some cases, withdrawal or depression. This type of emotional upheaval isn't something a dog can get over. It can take a long time for them to feel comfortable again, especially if the introduction was handled poorly. A real-life example of this is the story of a dog named Buddy, a 2-year-old beagle who had been the only pet in his household. His owners decided to adopt a second dog, a puppy, and introduced them without taking the time to acclimate Buddy to the idea. Buddy became anxious and began snapping at the puppy whenever it came too close. Over time, Buddy became withdrawn, and his anxiety only worsened. He had trouble trusting his owners again, and the relationship they had built with him began to deteriorate. If you're planning to bring a new pet into your home, take it slow. Start by allowing your current dog to become familiar with the latest pet's scent before introducing them face-to-face. Keep the first few meetings short, positive, and controlled. Ensure that your dog doesn't feel neglected during this time, and continue giving them attention and affection. By allowing both pets time to adjust and respecting their boundaries, you can help prevent any emotional damage and keep your relationship with your dog strong. 10. Not giving them enough attention. When you neglect to give your dog the attention they need, you're not just leaving them bored or lonely, you're leaving them emotionally unfulfilled. Dogs thrive on interaction, affection, and engagement. When these needs aren't met, they begin to feel disconnected and unloved, which can lead to anxiety, depression, and behavioral issues. Not giving them enough attention isn't just a simple oversight. It can undermine the bond you've built with them and leave emotional scars that last. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs are social creatures, and when they aren't receiving the love and attention they deserve, it can make them feel like they aren't important. This lack of connection can lead to destructive behaviors like excessive barking, chewing, or even aggressive outbursts. It can also make them feel like they can't trust their owners, as they don't understand why the affection they need is being withheld. In some cases, dogs that don't get enough attention can become withdrawn, which makes it even harder for them to engage with their owners or others. A real-life example comes from a dog named Lucy, a border collie who had always been a loyal and playful companion. However, when her owners started working longer hours, they didn't realize that Lucy wasn't getting the same level of attention she used to. Lucy began chewing up furniture, barking incessantly, and even growling at her owners when they returned home. Her behavior grew worse, and she became more anxious, showing signs of separation anxiety. What her owners didn't realize was that Lucy's actions were a cry for attention and reassurance that she still mattered. If you've neglected to give your dog enough attention, the first step is to spend quality time with them every day. Whether it's a walk, a game of fetch, or simply sitting together, make sure they know they are a priority. Engage with them mentally and emotionally, and offer affection regularly. This simple effort will not only strengthen your bond, but it will help your dog feel secure and loved again. 11. Forcing them into situations they're uncomfortable with. When you force a dog into a situation that makes them uncomfortable, the emotional damage can last far longer than you might think. Dogs rely on us to guide them through new experiences, but they also have their limits. Pressuring them into situations they're not ready for, whether it's meeting a new person, facing a loud crowd, or going to a vet, can cause extreme stress and anxiety. These moments, especially if they're frequent, can have a lasting impact on their trust in you and the world around them. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs, unlike us, don't understand why certain things are necessary, like a trip to the vet or an unfamiliar social interaction. All they know is that something feels overwhelming, and they can't escape it. Forcing them into these situations without taking their comfort into account can create fear and anxiety, which may develop into long-term behavioral issues. Instead of learning how to cope with their discomfort, they learn to associate you and certain situations with fear, creating a bond that's based on uncertainty rather than trust. Take the example of Daisy, a sweet German shepherd whose owner often took her to crowded places like parks and pet events despite Daisy's clear signs of discomfort. Daisy would shy away from other dogs, hide behind her owner, and visibly tremble in these environments. Her owner, thinking that Daisy just needed to get used to it, kept pushing her into these situations. Over time, Daisy became more fearful and began snapping at other dogs and even people who came too close. The trust between them was broken, and it took a long time to rebuild. The best way to help your dog navigate uncomfortable situations is by taking it slow. Gradually introduce them to new environments, sounds, or people, and always pay attention to their body language. If they seem overwhelmed, stop and give them time to calm down. Creating positive, low-pressure experiences will help your dog feel more confident and secure, and your bond will strengthen as you respect their limits. 12. Neglecting their training. When you neglect to train your dog, you're not just setting them up for bad behavior. You're setting them up for confusion, frustration, and even emotional distress. Training is essential for a dog's well-being and happiness, helping them understand what's expected of them and creating a sense of security. Without it, dogs can develop behavioral problems that not only harm their relationship with you but can also make them feel lost and misunderstood. Why is this unforgivable? A dog that isn't properly trained doesn't know how to interact with the world in a way that's safe or comfortable for them. They don't understand boundaries, which can result in destructive behavior, aggression, or fear. For example, a dog that is never taught not to jump on people may become overly excitable and even cause accidents by knocking someone over. The lack of structure leaves the dog confused and anxious, unsure of where they stand in the relationship. Without clear guidance, dogs may act out in ways that are damaging both to them and to their owners. Take the story of Max, a rambunctious boxer who was never taught how to behave around other dogs. His owners didn't think training was necessary, believing he would naturally learn on his own. However, when they took him to a dog park, Max became aggressive with other dogs, causing multiple fights. His owners were at a loss, not understanding that his behavior stemmed from a lack of socialization and training. Max's anxiety and aggression only worsened over time. Training should be a priority, and it starts with consistency. Work with your dog regularly, reinforcing positive behaviors and gently correcting undesired ones. Socialization is just as important as basic obedience. Ensure your dog is exposed to various environments, people, and other animals in a controlled manner. If you're struggling, consider professional training classes. A little investment in time and effort now can prevent behavioral problems in the future and will lead to a stronger, healthier bond with your dog. 13. Using their leash inappropriately. The way you handle your dog's leash can make a world of difference in how they feel about walks, training, and even their relationship with you. If you use their leash in a harsh or inappropriate way, yanking them around or using it as a form of punishment, it can have lasting physical and emotional consequences. The leash is meant to guide and protect, not to control through force, and when misused, it can create fear, confusion, and even physical pain for your dog. Why is this unforgivable? Yanking or pulling on a leash can cause your dog physical harm, especially if they're not expecting it. It puts stress on their neck, back, and spine, which can lead to long-term health issues. More importantly, it creates a negative association with walks and outdoor time, something that should be a fun and positive experience. Your dog starts to feel that the leash means discomfort, fear, and anxiety. This not only makes walks stressful but can erode the trust between you and your dog, making it harder to build a strong, positive bond. A perfect example of this is the story of Luna, a gentle golden retriever who used to love her walks. However, her owner had a habit of yanking on her leash whenever she pulled ahead or tried to explore a new scent. Over time, Luna began to dread walks and became fearful of her leash. She would hide whenever her owner picked it up, and her behavior during walks turned from excitement to anxiety. It wasn't until her owner realized the damage they'd done that they sought professional help to teach Luna to walk calmly. To fix this, Start by using a harness instead of a collar to avoid putting pressure on your dog's neck. Use gentle guidance instead of pulling, and reward your dog for walking calmly. If your dog is prone to tearing, try positive reinforcement methods like treats and praise for staying by your side. Walks should be an enjoyable experience for both you and your dog, built on trust, patience, and kindness. With time, your dog will begin to associate their leash with positive experiences again. 14. Denying them their favorite activity. Dogs, just like humans, have things that make them feel happy, fulfilled, and energized. For some, it's fetching a ball. For others, it's swimming or simply running around in a park. Denying a dog their favorite activity isn't just about missing out on the fun. It's about depriving them of a vital part of their emotional and physical well-being. When you take away something that brings your dog joy, you're not only making them sad, but you're also affecting their mental health in ways that are hard to fix. Why is this unforgivable? Denying a dog their favorite activity, especially over time, can lead to frustration, boredom, and anxiety. These activities are often tied to their need for exercise, mental stimulation, and bonding. Without them, your dog may begin to act out in destructive ways or develop unhealthy coping mechanisms. It's not just a matter of them being upset, they are emotionally and physically stunted by the lack of what makes them feel complete. When a dog is regularly deprived of something they love, it breaks their spirit, and this can have long-lasting effects on their behavior. Take the story of Benny, a border collie who loved playing fetch more than anything. His owner, due to work constraints, stopped playing with him regularly. Benny's energy, which was once directed at playing fetch, began turning inward. He started chewing on furniture and pacing around the house, unable to release his built-up energy. His owner, frustrated by his behavior, didn't realize that the lack of playtime was causing his anxiety and frustration. Benny had no outlet for his emotions, and it took a toll on his overall happiness. If your dog's favorite activity is something that keeps them balanced, make time for it every day. Even if it's just a few minutes of play or a walk, it's crucial to provide them with an outlet for their energy and joy. By regularly engaging with them in the activities they love, you'll not only improve their mood but also strengthen your bond with them. If time is tight, try finding new ways to fit these activities into your schedule. Your dog's mental and physical well-being will thank you for it. 15. Not respecting their boundaries. Every dog has their own set of boundaries. These boundaries aren't just about personal space. They're tied to how they interact with the world around them, from strangers to other pets and even their own environment. When we fail to respect these boundaries, we can cause anxiety, fear, and even aggression. Forcing a dog to interact when they're not ready or pushing them too far out of their comfort zone can lead to emotional scars that are difficult to heal. Why is this unforgivable? Dogs communicate their limits through body language. They'll turn away, growl, or retreat when they feel uncomfortable. Ignoring these signals doesn't just strain your relationship with them, it can cause them to become fearful, anxious, or even aggressive. If a dog feels their boundaries are constantly being ignored, they may eventually begin to associate their human with discomfort or even danger. This breaks the trust they have in you, making them less likely to seek affection or feel safe in your presence. Consider the story of Rocky, a rescue dog who had been through a traumatic experience before he was adopted. His new owners didn't fully understand that Rocky needed time to adjust to new people. When guests would come over, they'd try to force him to interact with them, even though he was visibly uncomfortable. Rocky would retreat, growl, and eventually snap at people. His owners, not recognizing his need for space, thought he was being aggressive. In reality, Rocky was scared, and his behavior was a result of not being given the time to build trust. Respecting your dog's boundaries starts with observing their body language. If they seem scared, anxious, or retreating, give them space and allow them to come to you on their own terms. Over time, you'll build trust by letting them dictate when they're ready for interaction. Patience and understanding are key to ensuring your dog feels safe and loved without being pushed too far. So, we've covered a lot today. The 15 things dogs will never forgive. From abandoning them, neglecting their needs, and failing to respect their boundaries to pushing them into situations that make them uncomfortable or ignoring their training. Each one of these actions can leave a lasting scar on the relationship you have with your dog. It's not just about the mistakes we make. It's about understanding how deeply these actions can affect them emotionally and behaviorally. But here's the thing. If you're feeling guilty or worried after hearing these examples, know this, it's not too late. Dogs are incredibly forgiving, and while some things can't be undone, many of these mistakes can be repaired with time, patience, and love. The most important thing is to acknowledge where things have gone wrong and take active steps to rebuild trust. Your dog wants to be your best friend, and with the right approach, you can heal any rifts caused by past mistakes. Spend time with them, respect their needs, and show them the affection they deserve. It's never too late to start improving your relationship and building a stronger bond. Remember, dogs are loyal to the very end, and with the right care, they will forgive you as long as they feel safe and loved. So, please take what you've learned here today and apply it to your relationship with your dog. They rely on you, and in return, they give you the kind of love that's unconditional and pure. That's something worth working for. If any of these issues sound familiar, I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. Have you ever made one of these mistakes with your dog? Or maybe you've experienced a situation where your dog forgave you despite everything. Let's talk about it and help each other learn. Don't forget to subscribe for more pet care tips and advice. I've got plenty of great content coming your way to help you strengthen your bond with your dog and give them the best life possible. In fact, in the next video, we'll be diving into 17 weird dog behaviors explained to help you understand the quirky things your dog does and why they do them. Thanks so much for watching today. And remember, your dog loves you unconditionally, so be sure to show them that love every single day. Take care of them, and they'll take care of your heart. See you in the next video.